Well, this Tuesday in Israel, they have a historic election. I have the most messed up system over there. I don't know how they could even figure it out, but I hope people vote Likud because a man of moral clarity, a Churchillian figure in our time, Benjamin Netanyahu, is up for re-election, facing a challenge from Benny Gantz again. He won the last time. Bombshell report. This is amazing. In Israel, from Channel 12. Also reported by Reuters, also reported by the New York Times. Look at this from the New York Times. Israel's security service discovered Iran actually hacked Gantz's mobile phone, raising serious questions about Israel's national security. I'm looking at what's happening in Israel, Mark, and I'm thinking, wow, they got a worse fake news problem than we have, way worse. And, Mark, I'm thinking, if this was Bibi that was compromised, it would be more than a one-day story, and don't ask me any more questions.
You know, I've been watching what's going on in Israel. It's pretty upsetting. In a word, their media sucks. It's very left-wing, very anti-Netanyahu, much like our media hates Donald Trump. You know, the thing about Gantz that amazes me, this is a former general, right? You'd think he'd know that when he uses a private phone, the Iranians or somebody are eavesdropping and tapping in. The Iranians know what's on that phone. The Iranians know what he said. That regime knows, but the Israeli people don't, because he won't come clean. Now, in the United States, if you don't come clean about something like that, whether it's an affair or whatever else it is, you can't get a security clearance. Even the lowest official can't get. Why? Because of the potential for blackmail. It's not enough for a politician, a former general, to say, they can't blackmail me, nothing happened. Well, you should have been smart about what you said on that phone, right, General? Another thing. You see this today in Politico? Politico is a left-wing news site. A left-wing news site that Obama officials love to leak to. Israel accused of planting mysterious spy devices near the White House. And the target, they say, is intended to spy on Donald Trump. And I think to myself, no, Israel, why would they do that? Then you read in the article, where does this come from? 3 former senior U.S. officials. In other words, Obama appointees. Obama appointees planted this. They planted it in an American news site in order to try and create hostility between our President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, are very close. In fact, Trump and Netanyahu are as close as any president and prime minister has ever been. And this story, in my view, is planted by former Obama officials, the worst president that Israel has ever experienced in its short life, and by the way, the United States too. And so I look at this and I think to myself, what's going on here? Follow this. Ben Rhodes, it was close to who? Joel Benenson. Who's Joel Benenson, America and Israel? He was a strategist for Obama in 2008 and 2012 in his campaigns, a strategist for Hillary Clinton in her 26 campaign, and who is he a strategist for now? Benny Gantz and the Blue and White Party. This is a dirty trick. This is a sleazy trick, because Americans and Israelis need to know the left wing in our country and the media in our country are like this. They work together, just as they do in Israel. They're trying to take out Netanyahu just as they're trying to take out Trump today. By the way, Sean, now that you have me here, see this? You know what this is? These are the ridiculous allegations brought by a ridiculous attorney general in Israel against Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, I doubt the American people care, and I doubt the Israelis have actually read this. I read it as a former chief of staff to a real attorney general in the Reagan administration. This is a disgrace, an absolute disgrace, like the allegations against our president. I looked at the 3 allegations. The first allegation: the Prime Minister of Israel accepted cigars and champagne. De minimis gifts. You know what this Attorney General did? He added gifts from another person to make it look like the cigars and champagne that Benjamin Netanyahu received was an enormous amount. Well, you know what, Mr. Attorney General? What you did is unethical. What you did is unethical. I looked at the second chart. Bribery, fraud, breach of trust. Utterly irrational. The Prime Minister actually refused to be bribed. One media outlet seeks legislation that would help against a media competitor in exchange for positive news. The Prime Minister had no intention of promoting the legislation, and it wasn't even possible for him to promote the legislation because the suspension of the Knesset was taking place before it could even happen. Then I looked at the third, which is supposed to be the big blockbuster charge. It's loaded with hyperbole, idiotic assertions. It's about press ethics, not the conduct of the Prime Minister of the State of Israel. Claims the Prime Minister sought positive media, like no politician does that. They might as well take a crime tape and wrap it around the Knesset. Because this website, you see, was going to do positive news on behalf of the Prime Minister of Israel in exchange for certain policies and regulatory changes. There is no direct evidence whatsoever in this long-winded, verbose, full of phony adjectives charge, the third charge. What the Attorney General is basically saying is, I don't like the press policy of this particular press owner, and I don't like the policies of the Prime Minister of Israel. Therefore, I'm going to make an allegation. And these allegations, like the charges against our president, hang over the head of the Prime Minister throughout the last several months. I would just say to the Israelis, you have the modern-day Winston Churchill. Don't make the same mistake the British made. Because I guarantee you, with the enemies that surround you, particularly Iran, you will come to regret it. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I happen to share it. He's been a Churchillian figure, moral clarity. Look at this relationship with Trump. Oh, yeah, recognize Jerusalem as the capital. Oh, yeah, recognize the sovereignty of Golan. Look at the partnership they have. I hope and pray the people of Israel vote Likud.